But check all that, dude. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Finally, we're doing it, man.
I'm honored that you're having me, bro. To be honest
Yeah,
with you, I
bro.
appreciate you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I'm so glad. Anyways, Anthony, welcome to the Chat with Langston podcast. We're finally over here. We're finally doing this. I've been wanting to have this conversation with you for a long time. But yeah, man, after all that troubleshooting bullshit.
Dude, you're a legend. Thank God for you, bro. This couldn't have happened without your all your hard work. I
Yeah,
felt like
man.
I honestly felt like I was on the phone with like a troubleshooting guy. That's what
Yeah.
I felt like, dude.
So
Seriously.
guys, if you guys have no idea what we're talking about right now, we were trying to I was sending him a Zoom link to, do the podcast. For some reason, if you open it on Messenger, it does not, and you click the Zoom link, it's not opening up the app directly. I do not know why. And it's an iPhone. So it's really weird. I don't get why that's happening. But regardless, we punched through that shit. Might send a bad review to freaking Facebook or Meta or whatever the hell they call themselves.
Yeah. I'm not usually a review guy, but I might have to make an exception. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding. I'm not doing
yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Oh
Not my
man,
style,
but
bro.
yeah, dude, yeah. What's been up with you, man? What's been up with you?
Same old shizzle, dude. Just working a lot and doing the comedy thing on the side.
Oh yeah.
It's not easy. I don't know.
Why don't you give a short introduction to the audience and tell us about yourself a little bit. You don't have to make it super formal, but what are you saying?
Well, I appreciate that, man. I mean, I'm a pretty simple guy. Like you know me, obviously from the barber shop. I don't know if people know that. So you've seen my ridiculous antics before. This is nothing. You know what I mean? That's why my man. That's why my man always looks so clean for these
Yeah,
podcasts.
guys. So if you guys don't know, Anthony's my barber. You can see that's how I look so hot.
That shit's not by accident, dude. That's
Yeah,
not an
man.
accident right
Yeah, man.
there.
I gotta put my profile on Bumble or something right now. I don't know. I'm thinking I gotta do that shit.
I mean, you gotta take some selfies or something, bro. Because
Yeah,
your
dude.
shit.
I gotta take some pictures.
When you leave the shop, you look like you're ready to get some tail. Let's be
Oh,
honest. My man looks
yeah.
like you're tail hunting, bro. You're a tail gunner as soon as you
Dude, you
leave.
know what? Next time I freaking take a haircut, I'm just gonna be like, yo, listen, man, you gotta take some photos of me so that I don't forget to do it.
Yeah, dude. When you get a haircut though and it looks good, it makes you feel confident, dude. For
Yeah.
real. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Dude, that is such an underrated thing. I feel like haircuts is something where, like, literally after having a haircut, I feel like I do feel a lot more confident when it just comes to, I don't know, I think I just look at the world differently for some reason. And not like in a bad way, not like I don't look at everyone else, but I just think like I feel good about myself. I'm like, wow, I got a clean cut.
Hell yeah.
It's all gone. All that shit is gone. I'm like, damn, and it's like wow, dude, I can take on anything I want after that. Like,
Yeah, it's a good feeling. We live in such like a shallow society. I feel like
yeah,
every person you meet these days like studies every inch of your face like upon meeting you. So you just
yeah.
feel more confident like running into folks in
I
this
know,
like
man. I know,
you
and
know.
it just feels it seems freaking awesome, dude. For some, I don't know why, but I feel like a lot of people, a lot of people lately are going bald. I don't know why is that a thing, but is it like a trend or is it not a trend? Maybe some people just, a lot of people have hair issues, just like myself. Um,
And
but
me too, bro. Look at my forehead's growing every day, homie.
yeah,
Look at this shit.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
not
like
ooh.
I mean, I get it. It's like low maintenance and stuff, but I feel like whatever hair you have, you got to keep it. But I also think being bald is like a different kind of look. I feel like a lot of bald people are very intimidating.
You got to
Yeah.
think. I think bald people need to look at the bright side, dude. If you're completely bald, you're more aerodynamic. You're more hydrodynamic. All of a sudden, you're swimming faster and running faster. Like people got to look at the
Yeah.
bright side, dude. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
dude. Yeah.
Got to look at the bright side, bro. You don't have
Dude.
to worry about getting haircuts anymore. You don't have to worry about big nose fucking barbers like me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You don't got to deal with the waiting process. I think there's some bright sides to
No
being
more
bald, honestly.
appointments. No more like, oh God, my hair's growing. I gotta go.
Yeah, and if you wear a hat, it fits like butter. You know what I mean?
Dude,
Like if you have no hair, a hat feels
whenever I
crispy.
get a haircut, that's when I wear I wear caps or something. Like that's when I
Mhm.
wear it because it feels so comfortable, very light. I don't feel like I'm like God. It's not itchy. It's so awesome, dude.
Yeah, maybe barbers aren't supposed to say this kind of shit, but like right after you get a haircut, it's feels so good to put a hat on. Like it
Yeah.
just that like difference in like girth to the side of your head, if that makes
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
makes the hat just feel like butter. You're like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? It covers up our work, but I don't really care. I like a good hat after a haircut, so
Exactly,
I get
man.
it.
Exactly. You gotta wear it. dude, I was talking about the gym, and I just want to tell you, I actually saw a guy in the gym who literally looked exactly like you, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking I was gonna say hi to him, thinking that it was you, and then after like approach, like I'm walking, I'm like, wait a minute. Then there was some part of his face that did not look like yours. I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah,
this guy looked like you, because he looked at me and he didn't recognize me. Else you would,
yeah,
if it was you, you would recognize me, right?
yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, is this like a doppelganger or something? I'm like, damn.
Well, I'm surprised it didn't hit you like, oh, Anthony's a fat bastard. He's not at the
No, it's no, but he
that
had like the
chubby
same body
that
type. I
chubby
mean,
bastard's
like
not
the
at the gym.
same kind of hairstyle. Like it's like kind of combed up and stuff. And I'm like fuck, dude, this guy looks like Anthony, dude. Like, damn, this guy look. And I was like, when I was on the treadmill and shit, I was like, damn. I was looking at him from there. I'm like, shit, this guy looks like him. I'm like,
Yes.
doppelgangers do exist, man. I mean,
I got one of those faces, bro. A lot of people say that to me. I just maybe it's just like I think all Italian people kind of look the same. To be
nah,
honest with you.
nah, 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 nah. About Italian people, dude. No, all Italians, they get pissed off easily, I'd say.
Yes, dude.
Is
I'll
is
tell
that a
you,
thing? Is that a thing though?
dude, it's because we're hairy people, dude. I'm telling you, that's what it is deep down. When you're an Italian person, you always seem stressed and like in a rush. That's because you know at some point in the day you're gonna have to rush home and shave something. Like
Yeah.
that's literally what it is, dude. That's what it is. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Italian men are the only men that make their girlfriends late for things, and it's because they're in the bathroom like shaving their taint. You know what I mean? Like we're hey, dude. I'm telling you, most of our problems stem from our extreme hairiness. We're always like
Oh my
razor
God.
burned. We're
Oh
always
my
razor
God.
burned and irritated. Oh,
So
there you
yeah,
go.
man. Anthony's Anthony's my barber.
Yeah,
Been cutting my hair for a couple of months now, I think, and he is actually also a stand-up comedian, which is something that I got to know recently.
like a very
But
amateur one. I'm working my way up.
yeah,
It's a
man.
process.
Actually, what's stand-up comedy? Tell me about that whole space right now. I want to know what it's like actually getting into it. Actually, let's start with like how did you get into that space? Let's just like we can like if you can walk us through that.
Sure, bro. My
Yeah,
pleasure, man.
yeah.
I kind of always was a comedian, dude. I know that sounds crazy, but like just my way of thinking. Like I think being a comic and even like a wannabe, like hopefully someday real comic like me,
Mhm.
um, I think you have to have a certain way of thinking. You know what I mean? Like I always think of jokes. Their jokes are constantly flying in my head, and that's just the way my brain works. I don't think everybody's brain does that.
No.
I think you have to be a little bit of a sick fuck. You know what I mean? Like you have to
Yeah,
be a little. You got to be a little nutty.
yeah,
And I think just growing up around like crazy Italian people too. I hate to keep bringing up the Italian thing, but that was a big motivation. We're just very rambunctious, like crazy mother effers that like
yeah.
never like to be serious, you know? So naturally my fam, I think, had a lot to do with it. And like I said, it's just a way of thinking. I'm just a nut job.
Right. Wow. Like what was it? So like, I mean, I think I can see that in you because you're someone who actually like um you're able to actually hold a conversation very easily.
I
And
love
not
it,
a lot
bro.
of people can like not a lot of people can do that. Like, some people might have like lull moments or whatever, or like, whatever, these kind of things. Like
Yep.
I cannot do that personally. Like as much as I talk, sometimes it can be very hard for me to keep up conversation, which is why I would never probably make it in a stand-up comedy place because I'm gonna be there. I'm like, fuck, what I talk about next? So like, what do I bring up? Like thoughts don't come to my like, how you say thoughts are like moving through your head, and you're like thinking about funny shit like literally every time. Like
Yeah.
that cannot happen to me. Like for me, I need to like think about something. I cannot do imprompts. Like that doesn't work with me, dude. Like I cannot. I would never succeed in that, whether it's in acting or whether it's in a stand-up comedy. I think you're right. Like it has to have you kind of have to have a knack for it, and I think a lot of it comes from the background, like you said, like it coming from your Italian background, being around Italian people,
Just crazy
and
people.
yeah, man. And I think just being in America, maybe I don't know. I grew up in America. I don't know. I feel like the stand-up comedy culture here is pretty strong. Uh, but like, yeah, like I've been to one like in New York City. I'll tell you about that. But let's go. Oh yeah, so continue. Like how?
Oh, yeah, you're fine. No problem, buddy. So I've always kind of like just been a crazy person, I guess. Like I've always
Okay.
thought of jokes. Like even as a child, I would like think of what would be funny someday if I was a comedian. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I would think of a joke in my head and I would think about like what if I was on stage saying that. I swear to
Yeah.
God, I've been thinking that way since I was like a little kid, which I think is weird, but it's almost like it was meant to be. Like I hope like I'm gonna work really hard to hopefully
Yeah.
make it a career because it's just I don't know. I've always thought of myself as being that someday, and I've always just kind of been the type that enjoys entertaining people. If to be
Yeah.
totally honest with you, I just enjoy making people laugh. There's so much like anger and fucking like nutty arguments that it's nice to see people laughing for a change. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I think if you have a knack for it and you have the talent for it, why not, right? And like I think
It's yeah,
yeah, I think especially when there's like a whole crowd and stuff, and you're there and you know that like when you get like a good thought in your head and it flows nicely, I think and then especially if it's natural to you and
yes.
you're comfortable in that space, I think it's a lot more easier for you to do that. So what have you been doing? So I know actually I know that you've been doing a lot of stuff in like Saratoga.
Yes.
Tell us about that. Tell us actually how you even got there. What was the process like?
So I just walked in there one day, man, and asked questions to some of the people that like worked there and stuff, and found out about the open mic process, which is very, very interesting. I could walk you through some of that if you'd like. That's a trip,
Yeah,
dude. The whole
sure. Maybe there
experience.
might be someone over here listening who would want to get into it. I don't know.
Yeah. So when you want to become a comic, the way to start is you do open mics, and the open mic set is usually 5 minutes, and everybody and anybody can sign up for it. And it's very nerve wracking the first time, bro. I was like shaking like a leaf, dude. Seriously, I was shaking
Really?
like Michael J. I was like Michael J. Fox in the crowd. That's how I was
Wow.
shaking, dude.
Wow.
It was
That
brutal, man.
that's
It
pretty
really was.
wicked.
And everybody likes to joke with you. Everybody's like, "Oh, hope you don't bomb." Like, "F you, man. Thanks,
Yeah.
bro." You know what I mean? Like, thanks for the vote
Other
of
people
confidence.
actually no, but other people who actually like do that there, like when you're right there.
Yeah, a lot of people, and then anybody can come. So the crowd varies a lot, but anybody can show up. It is definitely. It's the funny thing is the butterflies never really go away, even if when you've done it like 100 times. I think you're still nervous before everyone because you just even if you're funny or not, you never know how it's going to go. You might have like some
I
person who's
mean,
easily offended in the crowd. You know?
yo, that can get really that's kind of yeah, man. I feel like the whole offending people thing, like that's why I guess some people have to get very careful with their jokes.
Yes.
Because the one in New York City I went to do it, like it was, so there was like a lineup, right? Like for a lot of people who come over there to, a lot of stand-up comedians that are there, they come on stage and talk about something. So this one woman who came in, she was doing really well, and then she started talking about like she basically cracked an abortion joke, dude, and the crowd was not like you can see how that went, right? Like I forgot what she said, but something on the lines of abortion. I don't want to fucking say this because I don't want to get canceled. But I'm not. Let's just say it wasn't. She tried to make something on the lines of abortion, right? And that's a very controversial topic right now, and it's crazy out there, right? So the crowd was not like nobody laughed. Everyone was like, oh, whatever. And at that moment, I realized like, oh, I'm like, okay. So the people over here, you can tell what their stance is on the topic. And
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, man. And she cracked it, bro. She cracked it again. Like literally going into it. After some point, you could tell she's ranting about like kind of like her life or whatever. I don't know, like getting married and all that crap or whatever the shit. She was funny in the beginning, but right when she started getting on that, she hit some nerves of some people, which probably that like okay now your crowd does not give a shit about you at this point, or they're not going to vibe with you just because they don't agree on the topic that you're joking about, and that can be very scary, right? Like that's yeah. So you gotta make sure that whatever you're joking on, that either does not offend them, or if it's political, dude, it can go either way. It could either go for you, or it could like backfire on you.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Don't you think? Like
One
I don't
time,
know.
yeah, one time I made a Will Smith joke. And you
Okay.
don't really, I mean, that's not really a topic where it's like, oh man, you could really offend somebody, right? Like
Not
it's not like a
really. Yeah,
race joke.
yeah.
It's not
I wouldn't
abortion.
think
It's
so.
not race. But dude, I offended this one woman really bad. So I made a Will Smith joke and everybody was laughing. And she was like, that's not funny. And just like when somebody does that, when one person says that, it makes everybody feel uncomfortable. So everybody always stops laughing. I've seen it
Dude,
happen many times.
wait, did
Some
she like
people,
say that out loud? Like, did she
yes,
actually like say that out loud in the fuck? Okay, they need to stop. They like anyone who says speaks in the crowd, whether you agree with the guy or not. I think you just tell them to get the fuck out.
yeah, I'm pretty quick. So a lot of times when people say ridiculous shit, I'm usually pretty quick with a comeback, and that's key. If you can do that, that's not an easy skill,
Good
but
for
if
you,
you can
man.
do
I don't know
that,
what the fuck would I
people
do.
like if you so you can look at it this way. So you got a whole bunch of people in a crowd. If
Okay.
I make one joke that zings that guy, everybody's gonna laugh, and when everybody laughs, now it's almost like that guy has no choice but to shut the fuck up. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
like, damn, he's right. The crowd's got his back. I should just shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
big, but that's not an easy skill. Being quick is one of the hardest things about that job.
You have to
Because a
be
lot
very
of times,
spontaneous.
yeah, like a lot of times, like as a professional comedian, say you have a whole set and it's going just as you plan it. You'll
Hmm.
do that over and over again at all your shows. But sometimes you got to be able to pivot. Some dickhead in the crowd gets offended because you made an abortion joke or whatever. You got to be able to have a quick zinger ready for him, like improv little shit. So you have your set that you had planned, but you always have run into little things where you have to be able to pivot. You know what I mean? Like when I
Yeah.
do open mics sometimes, the person who is hosting will like look kind of funny in some way. And when I go to do the open mic, I'll start with something, not necessarily cutting too deep, but just like, busting their balls. So it's kind of funny, as an intro to the shit I have planned. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I think yeah, having the comeback, it has yeah, it's a skill, man, because like if someone like if someone says something like I don't know what see the thing is I don't understand what the crowd expects. Like me as a person, for me, no matter what, I guess I'm always hoping that the guy is entertaining, whoever the
Mm-hmm.
guy or girl is entertaining, and like if someone says something in the crowd, I'm like my first thought is like, why would you do that? Don't interrupt the guy who's talking, you know? So it's like that. But actually, let me tell you about an instance where it wasn't like I guess I was kind of offended in the sense that it wasn't offensive. It was more like so this guy, right? He was like a Muslim dude, right? And he was like a stand-up comedian, and he was talking, and he was like the last guy who actually spoke that night. He's pretty funny dude, not gonna lie, pretty funny dude, okay. But then like he starts making like a Jesus joke, and like when it like I'm a Christian guy, right? And like when you make a Jesus joke, I'm like listen, man, like calm the fuck down, dude. Like like just shut the fuck up, dude. I mean, I know we're in America, and I know like you guys, like a lot of people, especially a lot of Christians, take it lightly here, and you guys think that there are some Christians who take it lightly, but not everybody does, you know. So it's
No.
and especially he was not even a Christian, dude. He was like a Muslim guy. Like imagine if someone said something about that or joked about it, you know. Like it
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
like so that's what I felt in the audience, but at the same time I realized like at some point I wanted to just tell him to get up and say shut the fuck up, dude. I was actually gonna be like shut the fuck up. I wanted to get up and say that, and they would kick me out for that, and I was gonna be like, you know what, whatever, fuck my money, and whatever. But then I also realized like that's his opinion. Like no matter what,
yeah.
it's his
Thank
opinion.
you.
He is a stand-up comedian. End of the day, like it shouldn't technically affect me. Because I'm like, man, end of the day,
Yes.
like I cannot really that's not in my control, right? Everyone's gonna have so many freaking opinions on this shit,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So I'm
Well,
just
it's just
like, yeah, so that was just like my thing on it. But then I also understand that just that, like, like it's like whatever it is, like let him talk. I mean, the guy's still funny. The guy probably doesn't know what the fuck he's even doing. And a lot of people can be offensive in many other ways.
yeah.
I
Well,
could have
just I
offended
think
someone. So
you did the right thing because I'm telling you, dude, the right thing to do is even if you're offended, it's okay to be offended, but just do it quietly at a comedy show. You did the right thing. Like
yeah.
it's all right to be offended by what he's saying. Just don't, say anything because it's not the right thing to do. And you got
Yeah,
to think
yeah.
too. Like as somebody, like again, I'm an amateur, but as somebody who's made some kind of jokes on a stage, we're just like whores, dude. You know what I mean by that? What I mean by we're whores is we're just searching, we're just searching for jokes. We're
Yeah.
searching for laughs. And it's like sometimes we're saying shit that we don't even mean. We just want people to laugh, dude. You know what I mean? He doesn't necessarily, that guy might freaking secretly have no beef with Jesus at all. He was
Yeah.
trying to get some chuckles, dude. And that's what people
Yeah.
forget. People are like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not like we're, on stage at the White House making an important
Yeah.
speech. We're just trying to make people laugh. We don't even necessarily believe in half the shit we're saying. Seriously,
Yeah,
bro. Sometimes I said shit about my grandmother. I don't even have a grandmother, dude. She's been dead for like 20 years. But it's like, if I have a grandmother in this skit, that's going to be funnier. So fuck it.
yeah.
Tonight, I have a grandmother. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think yeah, I think you're right, man. Like when it comes to like some jokes, I feel like, if you gotta go, I feel if you go with like an open mind, in a sense that, like, when you're entering a comedy show, just think that you're not, there's no serious talk there. Like, I think that's the lines where you gotta go. Like,
Yes.
look, no matter what, dude, no fucking serious talk over there. That's not happening.
Nope.
It's not gonna happen. Like, dude, the people making like sugar daddy jokes over there, dude. That's pretty like, that's pretty funny. End of the day, like, nobody like, once you leave the comedy show, nobody cares at that point. Like,
Dude,
everyone's in their own lives after that. So
it's supposed to be an escape. You go to a comedy show, bro, to escape from all the serious bullshit that you deal with day to day that makes you hate your fucking life. You
yeah,
know what I mean? You're supposed to escape all that
yeah,
and chuckle. If the guy
yeah,
says something and it may be against what you believe in, who the fuck cares? Just
yeah,
ignore it. He's just saying it to get laughs. He might not even believe in it, like I told you. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I think
And
that's a good point. Actually, you know what?
yes,
That's a very good point, man. Because honestly, I
yes,
think,
it's just
like,
for laughs.
yeah, yeah, it's just for laughs. Like, no matter what
We're
opinions you have over there, whatever it is, just like,
yeah,
he's just another dude, or just
yeah,
another girl over there.
we're desperate. We're on
Yeah,
stage. You got to understand when you get on stage, there's a desperation. There's a thought in the back of your mind like, shit, I can't let it get quiet out there. And when you have that, sometimes you say crazy shit you don't even mean because you're just trying to keep it going.
yeah,
You
man.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
And
But yeah, that's
yeah,
absolutely right, man. That's
yeah.
absolutely right.
And I was gonna say, well, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. One more thing. I was gonna comment on the abortion joke thing. The tough thing with jokes like that is a lot of times, as crazy as it sounds, it all depends on the region you're in. This girl's in New York City, dude, where a lot of people are against abortion. Like a lot
That's
of people.
what I
That's the
felt.
biggest thing.
That's
You
what
got to
I
think your
felt,
demographic,
man.
bro. If she was in Detroit, they would be like, yeah, fuck that. Kids suck. You know what I mean? But she wasn't in
Dude,
Detroit.
I
She
think,
was in.
yeah, but she's from the city though, like, and maybe she was aware of it, but again, I guess she took a shot. That's the
Yeah.
way I took. But you know what? End of the day, like, again, nobody cares, dude. Like, I mean, she took a shot. She was still funny in some way, like, at least at least her bait, her initially it was fine. But
Yeah.
I thought she was pretty, like, I think I still thought she was pretty good. Like, but some of them, like some stand-up comedians, like, I feel like they run a joke for too long. Like, there was one guy that came and, dude, not a single person laughed at all.
Oof. Oof.
And
I
I
don't
was
even like to
like,
think about that.
and he was younger than me, dude. He was like 25 years old or something. I'm like, oh, okay. But you know what? I'm still gonna, like, whatever it is, dude. These guys are a lot of them are probably new or probably amateur. I don't know. So, yeah. Anyways, so I know we went a lot away from, like, I guess, your starting point, and you're talking about like getting a lot of nervousness and stuff like that. So how did you get past that, and what was it like to, I guess, to walk us through that whole thing?
Well, dude, it's just a little thing I like to call phi psi, and that's fuck it, send it. You know what I mean by that, dude? It
Yeah.
hurt, and I was nervous, and like fucking six people. One of my biggest pet peeves, I can't stand it. When you're about to do something profound, and someone says to you, "Don't fuck it up," I can't stand that. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. That's just like
Yeah,
now
man.
the. And some people were saying that. It's not like I was offended, but it's like, I hate when people say
It's
that.
like,
But
don't
people,
say anything right now. Let me just go do my thing and
yeah,
we'll figure
bro.
it out,
And
Like,
a
the
couple
best you can
guys,
say is like, all the best, man, or whatever. But
yeah.
don't even say, if
When
you
I
don't even say that, like, yeah.
Yeah, just positivity, bro. But like people are like, hopefully you don't bomb. Like they're just kidding around, but at the same time, I didn't let it get in my head, like because that's what they're trying to do. I ignored it, bro, and I went up
Hell yeah,
there and I did.
man. That's what you
To be
gotta
honest with
do.
you, bro, my first time I did pretty good. They say that's a sign of somebody who maybe has a future in the biz. So I'm hoping for the best. I'm gonna keep working hard.
No way,
But my
man. You
first,
gotta you
my
gotta send me the link. I see only snippets of your stuff. I want to see the
mhm.
link, and hopefully whoever listens to this will also see that link. So
Yes, I like that, bro. I like
yeah,
that. If you're in the
yeah.
Saratoga area, every Saturday at 10 p.m. there's an open mic. I'm just saying.
You gotta invite me to that, man. Can anyone just come?
Yeah, anybody can come, dude. I think you got to be
Awesome.
21. You got to be 21, and you have to buy one drink.
Oh
But
yeah,
other than that, it's free.
that's everywhere, dude. That's everywhere.
Yeah,
But yeah. All right. So tell us about your first experience. Actually, you said that you killed it, but I want to know, like, what was that like?
I was shaking, dude. I swear to God, I was shaking walking the stage. When you're in a comedy club for an open mic, it's pitch black in there, except for the stage. So when the first time you step on stage, I didn't see this coming. You're going from pitch black to these like gleaming lights right on your eyeballs. So I'm walking on the stage looking like this. Everybody thought I was like a Chinese man, probably. They're like, "Oh, this is that Ken Jong? I didn't know Ken Jong was performing tonight."
Oh my God, dude, that's fucking hilarious, dude.
But so I got on stage and I improv probably half of that because your first time up, you're so nervous that you have shit written, but the odds are you're not going to be able to think of it all because your mind's just rambling up there. I'm still getting used to like looking at a crowd of mad people looking at me. That crowd wasn't huge. It was probably only like 20 something people. It was like a small crowd,
Mhm.
but I did well, dude. I just, like I said, even though part of it was improv based off of nerves, like even the improv shit did okay because I'm just like I said, you got to be quick, man. That's the key, you know.
Did you have any moments where someone tried to like said something and you had to like combat that shit? Or I guess throughout your whole comedy career so far.
It's happened numerous times. That night, no. That night, I was actually pretty lucky. The crowd was pretty generous, I think, that night. But
Okay.
no, nobody that night. It was very supportive. I was lucky, dude, because I've heard some horror stories of, like I said, amateur comics trying to do their first open mic and having to be like straight drunk people, like saying crazy shit. So I got pretty lucky, I think, actually.
Yeah, man. I'm glad, dude. I'm glad. I'm glad. That's
Yeah,
awesome, dude. And that's awesome.
yeah.
So I
It's my
guess
passion, you know.
yeah, yeah. So do you do this every night at Saratoga, every Saturday night at Saratoga?
Every Friday night in Saratoga. I got to start doing more open mics. You know, I've just been doing open mics pretty much there.
Every
But I got to
Friday
do a
night.
couple nights a week. A lot of comics that like make it do like 4 or 5 a week. That's a little too much for me with how much I work. But I like to do at least 2 a week.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Hell yeah, buddy.
What like if someone had to okay, like in your opinion, if someone was like trying to get into the space of like I would say into comedy or I guess stand-up comedy, what would be like your advice to them? Like what was the thing that you would ask them to like be aware of if they wanted to get in that space?
One thing I would definitely say is you gotta push yourself. That's like the biggest key. And again, I'm still newer at this whole thing myself, but that's one thing. There's nights where you're like tired and you don't want to do it. There's nights where you're like anxious or you're whatever and you don't want to do it, but you gotta force yourself to do it. And that's the only way you're ever gonna get better at it. And it's a long road to getting like really good. So it's a process. But that's what I would say the biggest thing you can do is push yourself because you're gonna have, the voice in your head that's like you can't do this, but you got to battle through it, homie. It's a key.
That's awesome, man. That's
Hell yeah.
super awesome, dude. I'm so glad that you talked about that because I think a lot of people who want to get into this stuff, they do feel it is nerve-wracking, man. And some people think they might not be funny or whatever. It's crazy. But I think yeah, you gotta push it, son. And I think practice is important. And the only way you practice is going to like I guess open mic nights or stuff like that. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's how you
Yeah.
start. That's like the gateway to this biz. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
man.
and one more thing too, I was gonna say I didn't mention is sometimes when I'm sitting in the crowd, even now, even more so my first time, but when I'm sitting in the crowd, I can literally feel my heart like beating out of my chest. It's crazy. Sometimes, dude, sometimes to your mouth's like a little cottony, and you're like, "Fuck!" Like I need water. You know what I mean? Like give me a
Yeah.
water. The waitress is like taking her sweet time, and you're like, "I'm gonna fucking die. Please give me some water."
That's crazy, man.
Jesus. Yeah.
Dude, did you ever do I think you said did you ever try it in New York City or are you planning to go there to probably give maybe try to do a stand-up comedy over there? Because I know
Yeah,
it's
you
very
have
popular.
to. Yeah. That's like the Hollywood. What Hollywood is to acting, New York City is to comedy. There's like comedy clubs on every corner, and that's where like famous comics just pop in sometimes, which is pretty sick. Like you'll randomly see Chris Rock or Kevin Hart or any of those guys. If they're gonna make a pop in, it's gonna be in like LA or New York City.
Oh yeah, New York City. But I think it's New York City more it's more New York City because I think that's the right space for it. I think even in Hollywood in general. But yeah,
Yeah.
did you do any of the stuff like in Florida? Like I don't know, you told me a lot of your Florida stories, man, but like did you
South
ever
Florida is a different country, dude, in my mind. Seriously, man, that's like it's a jungle out there, dude, in South Florida. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude, your travel stories like you had a solo trip to Florida, right? That's what you told me.
I took a solo cruise, homie. That's some gangster shit. Not everybody's down for a solo cruise. Well, I was supposed to have two friends come with me, and last minute they like
We
were, you know.
Oh yeah, actually tell us about that story. You guys, this is like the best, one of the best stories I think I've heard when he was cutting my hair, like about his solo trip to Florida. And like honestly, that's kind of inspiring me to take a solo trip to Florida.
Dude, you should, bro. I'm telling you. Listen, like I told you when you came in, if you're the type of person that's social and like you're easy, you know, you easily mingle with random people, it can be a blast going to any kind of trip like that by yourself. I know it sounds nuts, but it's like, dude, you're on your own schedule, and if, like I said, if you're the social type, you'll meet 100 people. Towards the end of the cruise, it was like annoying. I like just kept running into people I know, and it was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Shit, dude! Like I'm just trying to eat some
Damn.
breakfast."
What?
It's like I had fans on the cruise, dude. I was about to start signing autographs and shit.
Oh my God, that's pretty solid, dude. That's pretty solid. Like a solo trip, because you know the thing about solo trips, I feel like I think everyone needs to do it. I think it's something that like everybody whenever they plan something, usually they plan with friends or family, but nobody talks a lot about solo trips.
No, dude, it's
Um,
underrated. Solo trips are
it's
underrated.
really under.
Listen,
I've never really experienced one where you go and meet random people. But okay, but hear me out though. Like the thing is that you gotta have the like you have the personality where you can go and talk to everyone. You can talk to anyone. You can introduce yourself like this, and it's pretty. It comes easy. But I think a lot of people don't have that. Or even if they do, like imagine going to a new state or maybe a new country. Like how do you do that? Actually, yeah, how do you do that? Like, what
I
was your
mean,
whole thing? I mean, I know you have that thing, but like, what was like the first thing that you actually did when you went on a solo trip, besides booking the
so
hotel and stuff or whatever the fuck?
yeah, so the first thing I did was I just went to my room and I was pretty cruise. I don't know. Have you ever been on a cruise?
Nah, bro, I want to.
Okay, well, dude, the cruise rooms are like similar to a prison cell in Sing Sing prison. They're like so shitty and small. The bathroom is like you gotta like put your legs a certain way to take a shit in the
No
bathroom on a
fuck.
cruise
No, are you
ship.
serious, dude?
They're
Yeah,
it's like an airport bathroom, dude. Is what your fucking whole room feels like. It's
that
not good,
sucks.
dude. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not good.
Hmm.
It's not good. But so I went to my tiny ass depressing room on the bottom floor, like where they keep the staff, I'm pretty sure. And because I was, you know, once my friends backed out, I like changed the booking and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I was like, if my friends are gonna back out or need anything extravagant, so I got this little turd room that's like a closet, and dropped my bags off there. And I think I went and got some food, and then I went straight to the bar. I got pretty twisted on that cruise. Like, you know, even for a social person like me, if you're gonna have a whole trip like that by yourself, I was like, I'm gonna have to get kind of drunk. You know what I mean? That helps for some people. It does.
It does. It does. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I got a little loose. I'm out on the deck, just hanging out, drinking and stuff like that. It was, you know, the cruise ship had just left, and all of a sudden I met a couple random chicks. It was
Oh
crazy, dude.
yeah,
It
yeah,
really
dude. Yeah.
was. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was nuts. Like it was one of those things where like when it happened, I didn't expect, I didn't think anybody was gonna believe it. Like I ended up
Yeah.
kind of like hanging out with one of the girls. This was years ago. I think it was like 20. I don't even know. I was younger. I was a lot younger, but I remember I actually took a picture of her in my bed that night because I was like, nobody's gonna believe this shit, and I like showed everybody at work. I was working at a different barbershop at the time, and I was like, none of these broads that work there are gonna believe this. I actually took a picture of her in my bed, dude. It was ridiculous.
Okay. Oh
But
my
like I said,
God, that's
I was
fun.
younger. I was
Okay.
younger. I obviously have a girlfriend now that I love and
Yeah.
shit like that. But in my younger days on a solo cruise, shit's bound to get weird.
Right.
You know, well,
But
dude. Plus,
but that was like so unplanned though, because you planned to go with your friends and then that didn't work out. But it, I guess turned out to be better for you.
dude, it really does. Dude, it's like I was saying before, man. When you go to on any kind of trip like that, I feel like you always miss out on one or two things you were hoping to see, and it's always because of somebody else's schedule. Somebody
Yeah.
else is like, "Oh no, I want to do this instead," and you're like, "Oh, I guess I'll skip that thing I was looking forward to." I didn't have any of that. I did whatever the hell I wanted, and you know, I think just being able to do that had me in an extra good mood on the cruise. So I was like even more social. It was just an awesome. It was an awesome trip. It really was.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I think solo trips are pretty important. So guys, if you're listening to this, just know that you guys, if you, at some point in your life, definitely plan a solo trip, including myself. I'm gonna fucking do one next year, dude.
Dude, it sounds shitty, and then you do it, and you're like,
Dude, I'm
"Fuck,
not
I
gonna
gotta book
lie.
another
Like right
solo
now, the way
trip."
I see myself planning a trip, it's like, okay, I gotta go. Let's say if I'm going to Florida, it's like, okay, I book a ticket, I book a hotel room or Airbnb, drop my bags off, and my thing is like, now what? You know, you know, it's
Nope,
like
you
now what?
think But that's how it is when you think of it ahead of time. When you think of shit like that ahead of time, especially you're like an educated cat. You're not an idiot. You're a smart dude. So you start thinking about all these little things you're going to have to do. But I'm telling you, when you're there, a lot of
You
that
sh
goes away.
I
You
feel like
like
you
you,
shouldn't plan this stuff. I feel like you just got to do
yes,
it, man.
exactly. You're like
Yeah.
intelligent. I'm an idiot, so I do shit the idiot way. But you're smart, so you like you like think shit through. I'm more of a moron. Sometimes being a moron pays off on vacation. It
Yeah,
does. I'm telling
man. You can't be smart about everything, dude. You gotta
you. Yeah.
you gotta
So
play it cool.
So, dude, I was telling you about the chick I met on the cruise ship there. So,
Yeah.
when you book a cruise, and you're going to go on a cruise one day, so you will know what I'm talking about. When you go on a cruise, you are assigned a table at like a fancy restaurant every night. It's part of the price of the cruise. But the only thing is, like, I was supposed to have 3 people sitting at the table. Now it's just me. That's actually depressing as shit. Let's be honest. So, what I did is like when I met that girl, I like hung out with some of her friends too, and I actually ate with them at the dinner table every night. Like that worked out so good. Like I could have had such a weird, depressing, like crying into my soup moment, in the dining room, but instead I met these random chicks. I'm telling you, everybody should do a solo trip.
Guys, if you made it to the end of this podcast, thank you all for listening. And I definitely hope to post a lot more in the future with content. But but yeah, man. And again, thank you so much, Anthony, for
Thank you for having me, bro. You're my hero. Keep
thank
up
you.
the good work. Keep up the
Thanks a
good
lot,
work, my
man.
G. Keep
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. And